Anita was a very good friend of mine, a close friend of mine, and she died during Cliff Avenue, Tent City. She was found in a bin, upside down, with a broken neck, in a bin she never went to alone. And the case was never fully solved. So to us, she was murdered. And her mom actually walked through those gates with me the day we opened it, in place of her daughter. So Anita was our friend, and we did it in memory of her. It also, if you say Anita Place fast enough, it says I need a place.
Hi.
I'm assuming they're asking you everyone now.
Oh, I want to go.
Okay, 3 to 6.
I like Christmas parties.
3 till 6 today.
Christmas parties are good.
Good.
Because it's Christmas almost, and then my birthday. My birthday.
Yeah.
When's your birthday?
In 5 days. On the
Happy
11th.
birthday!
Yeah. I bought myself a ring. I bought a dolphin ring at the pawn shop.
Had a house for 2 years of being here, and then they sold the house, and I had been off work temporarily, been assaulted, been on post-traumatic stress, and just needed a bit of time to get back on my grounding, and finances weren't in order. I ended up in the bush. And I was like, wow, okay, here I am. That time I cried literally 10 days. Cried every day for 10 days, pretty much all day. It's way safer. These people were, most of them were out in the bush like I used to be, like out on their own and not having any help or supports or knowing where to go to get the help.
My name is Christopher Alexander Murray Pétrin. I'm a musician, I'm an artist, I'm a poet. Music came in high school, started off as a saxophone player. Then I discovered the guitar. I express things that I can't express verbally through my music and through my art. Because as a paranoid schizophrenic, I can't always explain or articulate the thoughts that I have. I was promised a home and a job out here, and both of which were lies. You know, I wasn't about to get back onto a Greyhound bus and go back to Montreal. So I wound up staying at the Salvation Army for 3 months. Then I got housed through Alouette Addictions, and that wound up not working out. I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, so it makes working very difficult. It makes keeping a job very difficult. This place is very, very, very important. It's very needed. Just because a person doesn't have a place to stay that's inside does not make them any less of a human being. Does not mean that they're on the streets because of drugs. In fact, a lot of people that are on drugs on the streets are on drugs because they're on the streets and they're trying to cope with it.
I want to wake up and be warm. I want to have a place where my grandkids can visit me. Like, I haven't had a visit with them in over a year.
The city is still seeking an enforcement order with regards to fire safety here. At first blush, it can sound reasonable that they just want to keep Camp Fire safe, but I think we all know what that really means. And we don't want to agree to any order which gives the city and the RCMP the power to come in here, ransack people's tents, and take all their belongings the second they deem you to be in non-compliance.
This is a group of people who truly have nowhere else to be. And if they're not here at this tent city, with the community they have, with the homes that they are literally scattered across the Lower Mainland, and many of them are actually in the woods. Not only are there all the risks that have to do with inclement weather, not being able to protect yourself and getting hypothermia and pneumonia and ending up in hospital, in a community such as Maple Ridge, there's actually really high risks of violence from the community. There's violence from people who are anti-homeless, who actually physically attack people and steal their belongings, set tents on fire, all those kinds of things. And then there's the violence by city bylaw, who come through and seize all of people's belongings and literally leave them with nothing but the clothes on their back and nowhere to spend that night.
You can't leave 30 dogs without shelter, food, and water, or you get fined and you go to jail. But you can do that to 30 human beings? I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. And that's the main thing, is being here together, we're safe. There's way less overdoses.
I was a journeyman for Florida for 27 years or so. I got into an accident. I was out for 3 years, a drunk driver, and after 3 years off, with child support arrears, penalties, and interest, I got $8 grand. I got a son, he's 28. My daughter's 22, and a little 6-year-old. It's constantly a struggle. I worked my ass off all my life, and now I'm feeling like I'm a parasite and a bum, and that's not right. There's a lot of good people out here just had some bad luck, and just like your uncles and your aunts and your brothers and sisters out here. We're not just open your eyes. Maybe grab a tent, I'll get you a tarp, and just come on out and have a few nights out here so you keep it warm.
I'm worried because it seems like every time there's an injunction against this camp, it gets closer and closer to going the other way, going the way the city wants it as opposed to the way we need it. It would be the most devastating blow to a lot of people. A family would be broken up. These people would be devastated, probably turn to more rampant drug use, more rampant alcohol abuse.
There are routinely interactions between local fire departments and homeless people where fire departments come in or alongside police come in and seize people's warming devices, leaving them with no way to stay warm overnight. And it leads to this really frustrating situation where local officials with all the power are saying, well, we had to take these things in order to keep people safe, but then giving people no option to stay warm overnight.
It's very difficult to do what the fire department wants if we're not absolutely 100% sure what that is. We're not allowed to have heaters of any kind, candles of any kind, anything of any combustible material at all to keep warm.
Hi, I'm Ed Zimmer. This is Vancouver Live. We all have the same interest, to make sure each other's backs are well versed, so nobody has to suffer at all. And whoever's out there looking at us, well, we're going to look back at them. And just the same grain of salt, no different. But we have no judgment. We do not call. We'll show up anywhere, anytime, any place. But we're not the ones doing the violence or the malicious damages to the community.
Well, the Anita Place tent city in Makeville Ridge isn't going anywhere for the time being. 1 month ago, City Council voted to remove the camp because of life safety issues, as they put it. But the city and lawyers for the camp's residents have since come to an agreement, and today, a BC Supreme Court judge ruled that the camp can stay at its current St. Anne Avenue location.
So on a very practical basis, what it looks like is the province through BC Housing providing a number of resources to the residents, such as fire-safe tents, fire-safe tarps, subject to the approval of the Maple Ridge Fire Department, also providing heaters, which they're actually allowed to have in their tents, which has been a huge issue in this case in encampments across the province.
And what about things like plumbing and washrooms, like the basics?
So there's also an agreement at this stage that the city will cooperate with the province in installing a modular washroom on site and installing potable water.
Oh my gosh, yes. Running water. They're going to put in as far as I understand, running water in a bathroom. That would be amazing. An actual flushing toilet will be spoiled.
What would that mean to you?
Warm water. Warm water is priceless. It's priceless. It would mean I can get up and wash my face and hands. Maybe grab some warm water and do dishes. Like, I've got a few dishes, not a lot, but just a few.
The immediate needs are really survival needs for people in the camp who are living in the rain and cold 24 hours a day. And so those immediate needs are not small things. They're not things you can just dispose of lightly because they're politically inexpedient. So we have to work for them and fight for them and get them through whatever means necessary. The camp itself is an example of that. Like, setting up this camp is an immediate survival need. The housing that we're fighting for is not a charity act. We're not asking for philanthropy. We're not saying people need a handout.
I paid my taxes. I pay lots of taxes when I work. I want to go back to work. I can't do that living in a tent.
Here to stay is the new bird. We're here to song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he is Parson Brown. Till we are buried, we'll sing away.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming. We are here tonight to fight back against the discrimination our unhoused neighbors at Anita Place, Tent City, and others in Maple Ridge who are homeless are subjected to on a daily basis, not only by its residents, but by the very people who are tasked with serving and protecting them. We chose to light candles this evening as a symbol of hope that we can finally set all of the intolerance and hatred aside and come together as a community to eradicate homelessness in Maple Ridge by installing a sufficient number of temporary modular units to house our homeless citizens while we get started on building permanent, affordable, social housing. Woo. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the bottom of my heart.
This place is important. Here, you know, we might be stuck outside in the rain and it might be miserable sometimes. But with our own ingenuity and our own little bit of an imagination even, we've turned a park into a city. Each tent is a home. We need this place. Maple Ridge needs this place.